Welcome to the City of Florissant Podcast, where we talk anything and everything related to the beautiful City of Florissant.
Welcome to another edition of the City of Florissant Podcast. My name is Bennett Kedge. I'm a Media Production Specialist for the City of Florissant Media Department. And with us today, we have three guests with us. If you guys want to introduce yourselves.
Sure. I'm Celeste Dufour. I'm currently the Bangor pool manager, or one of them, one of two. I started at Bangor in 2015, and I also worked indoor from 2017 up until the spring, and just working at Bangor in the summertime.
Hi, I'm Lisa Welch. I'm a former employee of the city. I started at Coke Park in 2010 as my first job as a lifeguard. I ended up managing it until its end. Moved on to the indoor pool, managed in there, and where I eventually became the rec specialist for the pools. And then I left in 2020, and now I work for third floor as a preschool teacher.
And my name's Hannah Chaljo. I also started at Coke Park as a lifeguard and then moved to indoor, worked my way up and managed the indoor pool. And now I'm working at Bangor as the other pool manager out there.
So we're just going to answer a few questions today that we've been seeing on our social media videos about Proposition A. If you don't know what Proposition A is, it's a general bond issue for $10 million to build a new aquatic center here in the city of Florissant. It'll be on the August 2nd municipal election ballot. So we're just going to answer some questions we've seen. So the first question that we see often is, why do we need new aquatic facilities?
So basically all our facilities, they have pretty good systems in them. They're just very outdated, very old. There's it's kind of a mix of new parts and old parts, which kind of can make it hard for the management and the staff working there to kind of learn all these new things, because they're learning old things and old manuals compared to like new stuff as well. Cosmetics could really be a big thing that could fix too, because there's little spots of the pool that could look a lot better. Just all in all, the pools are just getting to their end of their time, in my opinion. But
And I think too with like the outdated facilities, I think with the outdated facilities too, and like the bather load we've been getting, there's so many people, and it just makes the pumps work a lot harder, and just our system can't handle it as well because it is so old. So if we got like updated equipment, we'd be able to like handle all the people we have, or just accommodate better for the city.
And something else I forgot to mention is I'm also a former pool manager. So like I've also experienced all these things that you guys have. So you do bring up a good point on that. The next question we have is about the old facility at Coke Park. We used to have a water park there, and we no longer have a water park there. That's actually the pool that I started with, so I also worked there as well. I know Lisa worked there, and I believe you did as well, Hannah. So what can you guys tell us about why Coke Park doesn't exist anymore? Why the water park had to be torn down, as much as you know?
yeah. Well, for me, since I like worked there till the end, it like I said, it really did hit its time. And also there was like a lot of different people that were in charge of the pool, whether it was full-time rec specialists or like even management. So sometimes people would do things a little differently, whereas they would either fix a pump or someone would just buy a whole brand new piece of equipment. So not like it was negligence, but it was just passed down through a lot of different people, and a lot of those messages didn't get passed on to the next person. So each new person was having to relearn this pool, and it was already kind of falling apart. So it just kind of took the dedication of the manager to be able to like run it. And so the last year we were there, we were surviving. We had lost like almost 100,000 gallons of water a day. We had a leak under the pool that we couldn't maintain. It was duct tape city there, I'll tell you that. All of our railings, we were doing our best to maintain it. And that pool was my heart and soul. I love that pool. I learned it, from like the ground up to try to keep it running, but it was so hard on the staff just to run it that we couldn't even provide fun community stuff because we were just literally trying to get it to run. And so like that was just very hard. And so we couldn't maintain the things we wanted to make it fun and make it better. And it just fell apart. I mean, it hit its time.
Yeah, I just lifeguarded at Coke, so I didn't know like the management side, or I guess you could say exactly how bad it got. But just from working as a lifeguard, like you could see all the cosmetic issues, like she said, duct taping things just to make them work, railings falling to the lazy river, steps that were falling apart, pieces of concrete falling apart. So the slides they used to have, they had to get rid of because those were so old and falling apart. So that, left a big dent in the pool as well. So that's just the part I knew as working as a lifeguard. It was just really old pool. Tried to maintain it as best as we could, but even good things come to an end.
Yeah. And I remember when I was there, that was when we had the slides still, and there was many summers where it didn't open. The slides weren't open for like the first few weeks because they would just crack because they were so old, and those had to be repaired, obviously, because it's a safety hazard. A lot of electrical issues. The pumps on it would shut off randomly, I know, some days. So a lot of issues with those as well, and that's why those went first, and then the pool followed. On the Coke Park issues, how can we guarantee that these new facilities will be maintained properly?
Probably just when we have our team put together, management and guards, just learning the new equipment, making sure to record everything so that like when new management does come in the future, they don't have to like relearn as much. It'll just be more, everyone knows this and it gets passed down properly and everyone knows the systems, and I think that would just be good.
I also think with our Bangor pool, I think was built in like the 80s or even before then. It is quite old. So the systems we have, some of them are still original. I think with updated pool, obviously it's going to have new pumps and equipment and things in the basement that general public don't see that, we're trying to maintain. I think those would be more user-friendly and probably more durable than what we have right now. A lot of things are rusting, and like we've said, we're, trying to patch as we go and make what we have work. But I think newer updated systems will be a lot better for our pool, and especially like Celeste mentioned, these larger bather loads we've been having. Like some days we're hitting capacity on our pool because everybody's coming to swim, and we want everyone to come swim, but our pool cannot hold so many people at once.
Yeah, what I don't think most people realize is the pool works really hard to keep up with everything that's coming in the pool, debris, suntan lotion, everything from people coming off. And so, with old systems, they work extra hard. And we have really good filter media in the pool, but everything around it is old. And if you have a good, clean slate of a lot of new stuff, like I said, the new products, like you said, they're user-friendly. They're new for everybody, so everyone gets to learn on the same page, and you can kind of start from a good, clean slate with a new pool.
Yeah, and I also know part of the bond issue, the plan with it is to use whatever money is not used to build the new facilities to help upgrade systems in the James J. Egan Center pool. So I know all three of you manage that pool. What can you tell us about some of the mechanical side and the cosmetic sides of the James J. Egan Center pool?
Yeah, so Egan pool is also really old, same as Bangor. My mom actually worked at both of these pools back when she was my age, so that, you can see how old they are. But Egan has really gone through a lot as well. The filters and things down in the basement there and the hot tub. We work really hard to just try to maintain those so the pool can open, but I know it's been struggling as well, and trying to keep the water clarity just with what we have. Like the pit we have that filters and backwashes the water is a really outdated system. I would also say very unsafe in a way, because we have to clean it, to climb down into this deep pit and hose off these filters that are down there. And I could tell you how many times I've slipped and almost hurt myself doing that. So to get that updated would be just amazing, and so much safer for our staff to be able to do that and keep the pools clean.
Yeah, and you mentioned the filter at the Egan Center being outdated. And I believe when we would have pool companies that would make repairs to our systems come out, normally when the repair guy would get there, he would see our filter and not know how to work on it because that's how old it was.
Yeah, they'd have to send like a special person that knew this filter, an older person.
Yeah. I actually found instructions on how to backwash the pool. It was from a typewriter, and it is about the same process that we use today, give or take a couple new things. So it is the system we have is like one of the best systems, DE, but like what they use now is a lot safer. It's a lot newer. And like I said, it's not as much stress on the staff to have to physically clean a 14-foot deep pit with not much climbing, like options to get in and out. And if you want it, you have to clean that nicely and very thoroughly to have clear water. I mean, it looks beautiful when it's done, but it's exhausting to do. Yeah.
Yeah, and I know it has to be also done multiple times a week. So it takes a lot of time out of the staff's day where they could be doing other things with the pool and keeping up on other maintenance. And it takes a few hours to clean that thing. It's like half your day gone just working on that. So.
And with how much maintenance that was, when I was a rec specialist for only a short amount of time, but in that amount of time I worked there, I replaced about every single pump in that basement. It was the slide pump, the pool pump, hot tub pump, and the last hot tub pump started to fizzle out as I left. But it's just, we put so much money into fixing all these things that are kind of falling apart when we could have something new to where we could put that money into cosmetics, because like the the shades at the indoor pool don't turn. There's one completely missing, and we would try to ask for that every year, but we'd have to put the money into actual maintenance of the pool. So cosmetics kind of got left out. And there's tiles that are sharp like all around the pool. They're trying to patch up, and there you're trying to patch up what you can too, to make it safe. So it's really hard to keep up when you're also trying to be there for your citizens as well and the patrons.
More specifically, let's go to Banger Pool and talk about the specifics of the issues that it's having. Because a lot of times, from an outside perspective, it's easy to see Banger Pool operating well because our staff does a great job of making it run really well and maintaining it. But what's the behind the scenes of Banger Pool look like that a lot of the citizens don't see from a guest perspective?
So I think going back again to like our bather load, we just have so many people coming in, and since our like pumps and everything is so old, or it's just working overtime to feed that chlorine, we've had to replace our stunner pump like maybe 3 times, and I've only been a manager for last season and this season.
And that's the pump that feeds chlorine into the pool.
Yeah, so we've had to
It's really important.
that.
Yeah.
So it's just like every time I go down there to check, it's continuously feeding and feeding just because so many people are coming. And it shouldn't necessarily take that much, but there just are so many people. And so because it's feeding so much, it's like overworking itself, and it's already old. Not just like, even though the pumps are new, just the whole system itself, because Lisa was saying earlier, we kind of mix and match our old parts with our new parts, and they don't work as efficiently as they would if it was just all new.
Yeah, and I'd say a big thing is cosmetically. The pool as it looks now is not the same as it was many years ago, if you remember. So you can still see where the diving boards used to be. So it's really uneven concrete. Many people stub or cut their feet on it just because it's uneven. And there's not really anything we can do staff-wise to fix or make that look any better as it is.
Aside from putting a cone up.
Yeah, we could put a cone, but that looks tacky. The pool itself, there's many cracks around the pool. You'll see water spouting out, and it's not supposed to be doing that, but it does because the welding is just coming apart. There's at least 5 spots around the pool where that's happening. One spot we've had to cover with one of our training bricks just so it doesn't shoot into people's faces because it's shooting water that high up. So that's not supposed to be there, but that's the best we could think of to fix it with what we have right now. And then like our slide has had issues, that big slide that we have out there. I know that had to have some maintenance even the beginning of this year, I believe, just to get it up and running. So it's seen better days, that's for sure. Yeah, our play structure's starting to have cracks and falling apart there, which kids play on that. So I don't want to see anybody getting hurt. Definitely something that needs to be fixed and would really be beneficial.
I mean, there's the splash pad
Oh, yeah.
that is there.
It's there, but it
that-
doesn't work.
We worked very, very hard to try to get it to run, but it's just that's what Bangor could turn into, is that splash pad if you want to keep, like, think about that. But
Yeah,
and then
and
we'd be
that's-
left with nothing.
And that's something we installed at Coke Park, is a new splash pad there. But the splash pad is only so much, and it's more designed for smaller children as compared to the older kids. So that splash pad at Coke Park is only a few years old, and it's been doing very well. So that one we plan to have for a lot longer than our current pools. But with our current pools, how long do you guys expect there to probably be left with Bangor Pool, for example? How much lifetime do you guys think it has left?
Maybe if everyone works really hard, we can like squeeze 1 or 2 more years out of it. But like we said, we just have so many people and the pumps are old. And like we've also been getting a lot of complaints about our lifeguards and just attractions being closed, because like lifeguards are frustrated that the water gets so cloudy because the pumps or patrons are complaining about the water getting cloudy. So sometimes we have to close our diving boards. And it's just a safety issue because the people who certify our lifeguards require that they need to be able to see the bottom of the pool just in case there is an emergency. And it's not safe for those to be open if our pool can't, cover and filter out everything that's coming into the pool. And then it adds an extra stressor on the lifeguards too when it is cloudy and they're frustrated that they're getting complaints about attractions being closed. And sometimes like the frustration from patrons gets put on lifeguards and that gets put back on the patrons. So it'd just be good to have updated things so that doesn't happen in the future and everyone's a little more chill and feels better about being there.
So the next question we get a lot is, how does having new aquatic centers benefit the community? If I know like Bangor and Coke had its different uses, how would 2 new aquatic centers help our community out?
So obviously it's a source of revenue for our city, so it's going to bring in money versus our 1 pool now. 2 is going to bring in more. I also know the proposed idea is Bangor would be more geared towards, we have swim teams that practice there. Lap swimming could happen because as of now we really only have 1 spot where people can lap swim during the regular daytime. So sometimes that's an issue if we have quite a few people that want to do laps. Unfortunately, they just can't due to other people swimming. So that's, from my understanding, the idea for Bangor. And then Coke Park would be more of like family aquatic center like it used to be. So you'd have, more kids going there, more attractions or play structures. So I think having the 2 separate pools to do that is a really great idea because we do get a lot of people that want to just swim laps or lounge. There's a lot that bring children that want to play, use slides and features. So good idea.
Mm-hmm. Plus now, it'll be nice to have a good pool for the swim team because, they deserve that because they haven't really had the best pool. Plus, currently, since we only have Bangor, when they have swim meets and stuff, they have to close the pool early to the entire public. And so that cuts off, a couple hours for every meet and all that for people to not be able to come. So if we have 2 facilities, one's always going to be able to stay open while there's another one shut down for meets and everything like that. Plus, it's nice. If you see St. Charles has Blanchette Park, and I don't know their other pool, I always forget, but it's kind of set up the same way how we had it. And it's been really nice for them. They have a smaller pool for families and stuff and the swim team, and then the bigger water park pool for everybody else.
Yeah. And Florissant just has such a large population too, and it's so spread out that it was nice to have the 1 pool at Bangor and then the other at Coke, so there are just more options. And so many other aquatic facilities in the area have been closed on the weekdays. So we've had like a lot of new people coming in and like our returning people. And like Hannah was saying, like they might want to do different things when they come. Like we have people who want to lap swim or just kind of lounge and chill. And then we have our younger families with kids who like to play with balls or like kind of just play with each other. And sometimes we get like concerns about are people playing with balls unsafe because there are so many people here all at once, and some of them are just chilling or wanting to swim, and the other ones are here to more have fun. So because of like the two different proposals, one's more of the chill pool with like the lap area, and there's like a small separate area for children and families, in addition to the big family aquatic center that would be where Coke was. So just more options for everyone in Florissant and even out of Florissant. And since there are so many people coming from out of Florissant, it would benefit the people who do live here just to have multiple options, more space.
Yeah, and I know that the two aquatic centers, the Coke Park is on one side of the Florissant boundary and Bangor is on the other side. So that also makes it easier for people who don't have as much access to traveling, because there's options within their area.
I know like there's like a national lifeguard shortage, but I mean with two pools, it would encourage a lot more teens and stuff to have summer jobs. And I think having a cool new pool to work at would probably encourage a lot of the, teens in the community to want to come out and work. I mean, I just think that would be a big benefit as well for people around. I mean, lifeguarding was awesome when we were younger. I mean, we all remember how much fun it was to be able to work at two pools and like have all this fun, and Splish Splash was awesome. Like it's just, there's a lot of benefits all around community with the teens and staff and all that.
Yeah. And with the lifeguard shortage too, like we've been doing a lot with trying to recruit new lifeguards or just like get older lifeguards who have worked for us to come back. And unfortunately, like I've had people show interest, but I've seen them go to St. Charles and like the other pools in the area just because they are updated and they almost like trust working there more because the facilities are nicer.
So another question we get is, I don't use the pool. Why should Prop A matter to me?
I mean, a pool is just like a staple of a community. I mean, whether you use the library or not, it's still nice to have there. For just because you don't use it doesn't mean nobody else in your community does. I mean, I think if we lose a pool, it's going to discourage a lot of people and families from wanting to move here. I mean, I love this community. I grew up, I was born and raised here, and I would love to stay here. But I would be afraid to see what happened, how many people would move or try to go elsewhere if we lost like a community pool. And I honestly, even though I worked at the pools, I hardly go just because I worked there too long, but I don't know. But despite me not using it, I still would love to have a nice pool for our community, just because it's better all around for everybody, not even just for like, a personal decision,
Yeah. Like she said, too, it's bringing in revenue that's not necessarily just staying with Bangor or staying with Coke. That revenue would help the whole Parks and Rec department, so like our parks and other things in our city. So I think that would be a big source to help boost the economy.
And when there's not as much weight on the shoulders of the staff to maintain and literally just run the pool, they have so much more time to like create programs or make more community events or just random fun things that we could have without having to worry about, if I dedicate time to that, what happens when the pool pump breaks down or what there's a leak or something,
And like Lisa said, having new pools would bring in new families, new people to the community, and that when more people are moving into the community, that raises your property value. So that's something else to consider, that losing this pool would also lower property values, and having new ones would more than likely raise the value of your properties. So that's also an important thing to consider. So are there any other thoughts or comments to wrap this up?
I've also lived here for the majority of my life growing up, and I swam at all the pools when I was younger. I mean, I live right next to Bangor, so that was always the go-to. But even like just having Bangor as the closest option, it was still like a treat for our family when we got to go to Coke because they are so different, and just having like options. Like one has all those big slides, and I'm a short person, but when I was 48 inches tall and we would go to Coke, I'd be like, I can ride every slide. I can use the lazy river. And it was just more fun to have the option of yeah, there's this closed pool to me and it's really fun and I like the diving boards, but also this whole different pool where I could have different experiences and just there are different things for you to do there. And just the options too between like the proposed pools with the lap pool being more for the chill crowd and the Coke pool being more for the families and people who want to have a lot of fun and experience those newer attractions or old attractions that we're bringing back, like the slides. And I think there was a little lazy river, if I wasn't mistaken.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So it could be really fun to have a lazy river. I feel like that's one of the big things I always hear people saying, like, man, I miss that lazy river. So, yeah.
Yeah, I know that was a big attraction at Coke Park. A lot of people came for just the lazy river to just float around all day long around the park.
I just think, I mean, I've been in this community, like I said, my whole life too. And working for Parks and Rec, I saw a lot of cities around us get updated pools and new facilities. And while I watched my awesome staff like work to the bone to try to run the pool, and it just, I don't know, it really sucked to see that. And I think we deserve a turn to have a new pool. I mean, it's made me love this community so much. Like, I literally remember when you and your whole family were little coming to Coke, like, and then they ended up becoming lifeguards. And like, I remember your whole family working throughout the whole city too. It's just, I mean, you as well. I mean, I like know so many people throughout this community, whether it was their patrons I got to see all the time at the indoor pool. I miss my oars people, by the way. And, you know, it's just, I don't know. We deserve this so much. And I would really love to see us have a nice new pool or pools, facilities in general. But
Yeah. My final thoughts. I think it'd just be really beneficial. Like, we've mentioned all these issues with our pool. Like, we're not trying to sugarcoat anything, and I don't feel like we're downplaying these issues because they are real issues. Like, the pool is falling apart. It's old. We are working as hard as we can, like Celeste and I, to manage the pool. It's really hard when patrons come and we can't provide like the best services or have all our attractions open, and like it comes back on us. And you know, like we take that to heart. We think about it because like we put a lot into the pool here, and like our staff as well. Like, everybody's just there to have fun. I don't think anybody's there for the money. Like, we're all there to have a good time, work together, you know, have a fun summer together. But I do think like this would really help our city. If we don't do anything, it's just going to end up like Coke. You know, they're going to bulldoze it down. It's going to be a grassy field. So I don't want to see that happen. I'd be really sad. But like, just so everyone knows, we're doing what we can with what we have. But I think it would be really beneficial to get these new pools and get a little revamp.
yeah, everybody deserves it. The community, as well as these awesome workers here and everyone else behind them. But
All right. Well, thank you all for sharing your thoughts today on our podcast. And just want to remind everybody that Proposition A is on the municipal ballot on August 2nd. Don't forget to get out and vote on August 2nd. Register to vote. We'll have information on our city's website with all of the local polling places. And thank you for tuning in.